Okay, for a 6v6 in Living Legends, I think this is a good time to start recording. Specifically, I've been trying for a few days to get a good recording session for this game, and it's really important just to get a good session with a good amount of players in this, because, well, it's an important game to me, and it's an important game for the market right now. You know, MechWarrior Online is selling like crazy, but this game, which I'm going to argue that is objectively superior to MechWarrior Online, has almost no players. I mean, this server right now, 6 players, these are all the people that are playing this game right now. And you would think, oh, it's because this game costs a bunch, or this game doesn't work very well, or this game is buggy as hell. All of those answers are no. This game is totally free. I have yet to crash since downloading it again and checking it out after some nostalgia trips. And I've yet to encounter any serious bugs that aren't in the game engine itself, because I will be honest, the developers of this game do not have control over the game engine, but neither does MechWarrior Online. And I just got myself into a lot of trouble. Yeah, a lot of trouble. Oh boy. Darn, he got away. I'm gonna die now. Where am I gonna die? Yeah, I died. Now, that was just some gameplay right there, and if you've played MechWarrior Online, you basically saw everything that was in MechWarrior Online. You had an independent arm aiming control and torso aiming control. In this game, it's basically functions the same way, except you have a circle that indicates the radius of your torso-mounted weapons. In this game, your torso-mounted weapons are not technically fixed. They have a small gimbal aiming circle. But that's the fine details that I don't think most people even care about. What most people care about is this a mech game? Are there mechs? How do the mechs work? Do they work well? Is it buggy? Is it free? How much does it cost? Can you customize them? Well, I will have some serious answer. One thing this game does not have that every other MechWarrior game does have is a mech lab. You cannot change what is on a specific mech. However, I think objectively that is better for game balance, because the developers have and can and have control what the players have available to them. That makes the game much more balanced. And everyone, I think, enjoys a more balanced competitive game. I know it's possible to have fun in a game that isn't balanced, but a balanced game will ultimately let you have more choices. And for a new player, a balanced game will make it harder for you to make what is going to be objectively the wrong choice. And no one likes making the wrong choice and not knowing, not having it told you that it was the wrong choice. So, if this game is objectively better, you know, what are the things that might make it objectively better? I've already gone over a couple of them, but the graphics are something that a lot of people care about, and I think that on a technical level, these games have the same graphics. They obviously have different visuals, different models and everything, although they do have many of the same battle mechs. They both run on the Crysis engine. Now, MechWarrior Online, when it was released, was on CryEngine 3, which is now just CryEngine. This is on CryEngine 2. I think if you looked at screenshots, you might make an argument for either one looking better than the other. Personally, I think this game looks better. Just for for the water effects, which are really nice, and the water actually matters in this game. You cool twice as fast in the water, unlike in MechWarrior Online. You only cool if your legs are in the water, and it only counts if your heat sinks are in your legs. But see, on the pure gameplay level, there's just more to do in this game, because there's more than mechs. There's also tanks and aircraft. Now, this particular map doesn't have any tanks. Or, no wait, it has tanks, it doesn't have any aircraft. That's what I meant to say. I got myself in trouble again.
Right torso damaged.
At least I'm not in the thick of it. Well, this game also, in my opinion, has better sound assets. I know that's a weird thing to pick apart about a game, but for me it really matters. And in many cases, they're higher resolution effects, but you can argue anything about realism and the effects. This game is also more responsive. The hit detection is altogether more accurate, and cool things like this can happen. I didn't expect this, but here it goes. That was a nuclear bomb. Yes, these mechs are powered by nuclear bombs, and occasionally they go off when you destroy them. Isn't that cool? And that's a bug. A lot of times I'm forgiving when a game has bugs, and you can call me out on that. I'm not saying for myself about the bugs that MechWarrior Online has, because I haven't encountered too many myself, nor have I encountered the game crashing too much. But this one doesn't crash so much either, so that's not an argument for why this game isn't popular, or why you wouldn't want to play this game if you are interested in BattleMech or BattleTech gameplay. Oh, and did you see that? I had an ammunition explosion because our mech got too hot. That can happen in MechWarrior Online, but it doesn't happen very often. This game really punishes you for running hot. Which again, that has to do with balance between ballistic and energy weapons, but I go over that right now because I'm encountering it. As you can see, this is live gameplay and I'm having to commentate while playing. And another thing that might make you think that this game is objectively superior is it has bigger maps. The maps are like 4 times the size of the maps in MechWarrior Online. And ironically enough, this game that has the exact opposite of effect on the gameplay in MechWarrior Living Legends compared to MechWarrior Online. Here, you're punished a lot less for going in and mixing it up, going in and basically brawling with the enemy. In MechWarrior Online, you're really punished for doing that because it's such a high risk. It also has to do with you don't support your team very much when you go in and mix it up like that in MechWarrior Online. It's mostly about peek and shoot in that game. Here, since you can respawn, you can easily go in and mix it up with the enemy and make enough credits for you to where it was worth it to you and your team. This game also has multiple game modes. It has a terrain control mode, and this mode, which is called Team Solaris Arena, and actual Solaris Arena from MechWarrior 4. I'm not kidding, it's Solaris Arena. For those that don't know what Solaris Arena is, that probably doesn't matter to you, but it's basically an arena mode where there's Duncan Fisher who's calling out funny things, references to BattleTech. And this game has actually Duncan Fisher. I mean, he's a voice actor and he signed on to MechWarrior Living Legends and gave him his voice. which I think was awfully nice. Another point of this game having objectively better content is there's just more variety. This is all of the ground vehicles, including hovercraft, tracked tanks, and an artillery unit. And in addition to that, look at all of these mechs. You have a bunch of light mechs, medium mechs, heavy mechs, and assault mechs. And you have at least 4 variants for each mech and vehicle. And the best thing is, you don't have to pay real money to get any of those. All you have to do is, in the match that you're playing, do good enough to get enough credits to buy it. That is how this game balances gameplay for all content in the game, or all vehicles in the game. A more powerful vehicle is more expensive. And yes, there are more powerful vehicles than others, definitely, but they cost a lot more. Consequently, vehicles that are more complicated to use are cheaper. That means vehicles with a larger variety of weapon types. Boy, have I got myself in here. He blew up. Look, I'm ragdoll. Boom! He's dead. Also, I like when the mechs die in this game. They like forcibly explode and fall over violently. That's part of what I mean when I say this game is altogether more responsive. The hit detection and the lag is much less than there is in MWO Online. And it's not like the interface for MWO Online is better. I would argue the exact opposite. Although it is kind of hard to find what equipment you have. If you haven't noticed, it's on the right next to my damage readout, which it'll just say equip, and I have nothing but standard optics, which is what every mech has, unless it has advanced optics. And all that means is you can zoom in more. And I mean, well, wait, MWO Online is a free-to-play game. That means you get tons of fun cosmetics. Well, about the only cosmetic that matters is camo, and as you can see on this mech right here, you have camouflage. Look. And you can indeed choose which camouflage you want in this simple menu. You just have to select it before you buy your mech or tank, and it will apply. Very simple. Hey, and if you're a fan of Battletech, there's unseen vehicles. That's a Warhammer. Can't have that in MWO Online because they get sued. These guys, they're totally free, so they can't get sued. On that note, you might argue, well, this isn't an officially licensed MechWarrior game. It is. Microsoft gave them permission to use the MechWarrior license. PGI tried to revoke it. Well, I wouldn't say PGI. See, if you're seeing all of this and you're in favor of MechWarrior Living Legends right now, and you're anti-MechWarrior Online, I guess, which I would say that I am, a lot of flack goes toward the developers of MechWarrior Online, and I don't think they're to blame for their game being worse. Really, it has a lot of the things that this game has. The players just have to pay for it. And the developers didn't necessarily decide the prices. It's the publishers that did that. Now, that's risky territory as far as blaming publishers or blaming developers. I'm not really going to blame the developers because it's very clear that in MechWarrior Online they put a lot of work into it. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that they said they would put into the game that they're taking a very long time to put into the game because they are pushing more paid content, which means more mechs. But it's what sells, and what sells is apparently what the players of MWO Online want. And since you can't really sell this game because it's free, well, it makes sense that most people wouldn't want to play this game on that alone. Well, that doesn't really make sense, does it? The fact that you have to pay for a game means it's more popular. That seems unreasonable. But in this case, it just might be what happened. Especially if you look at Star Citizen and how much money that's making off of nothing. I would argue that game is basically a cult right now. But we're not talking about Star Citizen. We're talking about MechWarrior Living Legends and MechWarrior Online. They're both free. On the base level, you know. There's no pay to access for MechWarrior Online. There's no pay to access for this game. I died. That's actually my first death, isn't it? No, it's my second death. Boom, I went. Got a little too talky there. Now, there has to be a reason why no one is playing MechWarrior Living Legends when it is objectively either superior or equal to MechWarrior Online. And I think that reason is no one wants to hear about it. On its base level, the game is a mod for Crisis Wars. Now, realistically, you don't have to own Crisis Wars to play this game. And as far as the legal statements go, you don't have to. And as far as the game goes, you don't have to have a CD key either to play on most of the servers. Some of the servers decided that they would require players to have a CD key to keep hackers out. But not anymore. Those servers are all gone. And the reason why you don't have to pay to access this game, but you technically still have to have Crisis Wars, is because this game does not use any assets, or does not use any assets that are not available in the Crisis Wars demo. You only need the Crisis Wars demo to play this game, and in that case, you don't have to pay for this game at all. It's totally free. If that's not a reason enough to at least consider it equal to MechWarrior Online, based on the features that it has, I don't know what is. Yeah, that might be a little weird of an argument, considering. You also have to look at the content. I'm going to pull a tank. Oh, there's infantry too. Probably noticed me running around here with my gun. But this map is a little too big for that. Also, not enough players. But is the infantry or battle armor combat balanced compared to the mechs? It is. It definitely is. So I was arguing about the exposure. This is a mod, right? So that means people just aren't going to want to hear about it because it's a mod, they say. And now I've experienced that myself, trying to get people from other Battletech groups to play this game. What they say most of the time is, it's a mod. I don't care about it. It's a mod. Other than that, though, you could go on the MechWarrior Online forums and tell them about this game, except you get banned and your post gets deleted when you talk about this game on the MechWarrior Online forums. A lot of you might be thinking, well, that's straight up bad behavior. That's what I'm going to say. All of the little voices in my head are saying, that's straight up bad behavior to ban people for talking about another game in your market that is free. I don't know how many bans would take that. There might have been under the auspice of spamming, which might be true, because spamming or advertising, which might be true. But in discussions, this game is totally ignored, and frequently my posts get deleted when I try and talk about it, at the very least. So, it seems as if at least the forum managers and the money behind MWO Online just doesn't want people to know about this game. And I think it's because, on a technical level, they know it's at least equal to the game that they paid investors to pony up money for. Now, you might think, oh, MWO Online was crowdfunded. It wasn't. They offered a foundered package and lied to everyone. Technically. I'm not going to say they lied. I did just say they lied, but, you know. I'm going to sympathize with developers of MWO Online, because it's clear that they put a lot of work into their game. I think they're being pressured by outside forces to deliver content that they might have not wanted to put into the game in the first place, or they wanted to put in the game at a later time. They're pushing the content that's making money, because they know, because the publishers might say, or the people managing the team might say, if they're paying for it, they want it. Which is true. If you're paying for it, don't you want it? Make the same argument about MWO Online, or Star Citizen. They're paying for it, they want it. Excuse me while I die. This game might be better to show in the terrain control game mode, where there's actually points to control. Here it's just kill. Kill until the enemy team runs out of tickets. Or until the time runs out. So, if you might not believe that people are getting banned for talking about this game, or completely ignored, or their posts deleted, you might think maybe this game is just too old. And that might be true, because this game is like 5 years old now. It's been around for a while. But all throughout its lifespan, it's never had more than 100 players at a single time. Well, MWO Online has thousands. I have a hard time grasping that disparity based on the game's age or popularity with its players. Frankly, I only stopped playing this game at one point because PlanetSide 2 came out.
Assembly ready and hangar bay.
And MWO Online has been going for a few years. I'm surprised that it's been going for so long and the players have not all realized that there's a game functionally equivalent to it for free. For totally free. That makes you wonder, do the players of MechWarrior really care that much about the Mech Lab? Or do they care about this game having tanks? Well, this game basically has anything anyone would ever want. It's kind of like a Battlefield game, where it's combined arms. And I think this game does anything you could ever want well. It's not the best game in the world for anything it does, but it combines everything very well. That includes battle mechs. They're balanced. They're not overpowered. I think MechWarrior has a lot to do with a power fantasy and your giant robot. So people who come to this game from MWO Online then get killed by a tank or plane and get pissed off and quit. I don't think that's true because, like I said, this game never had any more than 100 players at a time. So it's the case that they just haven't heard about it in the first place, rather than that they played it and saw things other than mechs dominating and quit. Frankly, I enjoy the variety that's offered by tanks versus mechs. The mechs are taller, they have jump jets, and they're faster, and they also have a larger variety of weapons. To compensate, a tank has more armor and it has a simpler weapons loadout, making them easier to use. They're also generally limited to ballistic weapons. Not always, but frequently. The variants of a tank that is primary, its primary weapon is an energy weapon, is generally going to be more expensive. Because obviously having an energy weapon means you have infinite ammo. So that means tanks are limited by ammo. You can also transfer money to other players in this game. So if you're newly joined to a match and you're just starting out, which by the way, most of the time money is going to funnel down to you through the ranking system. Every time you do damage, you get points and credits, and the points will accumulate and give you a higher rank. And what the rank does is when you spawn with more cash. As other players in your team get points, so long as you're near them or active, you will also get points and advance up the ranks as well. So that means if you join late, you won't be starting out with a completely terrible vehicle right away. And at which point, you'll still be able to influence the game. It's not like if you're in a stock Spider in MWO Online, or you'd be totally useless. In this game, a light mech is still useful for its even beyond its price, because they frequently have C3 computers which allow you to share targeting data with other players, or NARC beacon launchers which allow you to spot for artillery. Just had to ask for some ammo there. I don't think I put camo on the tank. I forgot to. Not like it matters. This is a demolisher. It demolishes things. So, I don't want to be toxic toward MWO Online. It is a game in its own right. And it does have one striking feature that this game does not have, and that is the mech lab. But I think the mech lab is not a good idea, because while it does give you more freedom and customization, ultimately you're going to be shoehorned into one loadout anyway, because that one loadout is going to be superior than all others. It is the nature of the balance of the game. Now, for a free-to-play game, having that option is probably a good thing for the money income, because you can have a power creep over time, and the players won't, well, they'll feel it definitely. They'll not be too happy when their previously powerful thing gets nerfed. But for a content cycle, you can just as easily change something around and have players adapt to it by themselves. It's still a power creep, which is evident in most, if not all, free-to-play games. And if you're not familiar, a power creep is basically when the developers change what is powerful over time to encourage players to play more to get the new powerful thing. Playing more for a free-to-play game also means paying more. Which, in the grand scheme of a game, that's fair, because if they're playing more, the game has technically more content, because I follow the idea that players are content. I'm just getting absolutely swarmed right now. Players are content because, well, you're not going to play a game with no players, are you? C4. Will I kill him? Nope. Uh-oh. Nope. I'm dead. We were winning up until we weren't winning. Hey, but in this game, you don't have to play for credits, grind for experience. Just play for fun. And for a Battletech fan, that's ultimately what you would want, right? Want to have fun with the universe that you're familiar with. While this game isn't too in character, there is a pure tech mode which pits the Innisphere versus the clans collectively. I would say that it is relatively balanced. It's if the match drags out for too long, say an hour, which usually it won't, things can get skewed in favor of the clans. Simply because they have more expensive, thus more powerful items. And yes, I do drag out the expense to mean the power of an item in this game. That's basically what it means.
Assembly in progress.
Hey, another reason why this game might be objectively superior to MWO Online, there's definitely more weapons in this game. In MWO Online, you have beam lasers, pulse lasers, autocannons, Gauss rifle, long-range missiles, and short-range missiles. And the narc. That's it. This game, you have X-pulse lasers, pulse lasers, clan heavy lasers, also beam lasers. You have Gauss rifle, and heavy Gauss rifle, and light Gauss rifle. Well, I guess MWO Online also has the PPCs and the ER PPCs, which this game also has. And this game has short-range missiles, long-range missiles. It also has extended long-range missiles. It has advanced tactical missiles, flamers, which are useful, unlike those in MWO Online. And there are Arrow 4 missiles, Thunderbolt rockets for aircraft, fire bombs for aircraft. There's also medium-range missiles, which is sorely missing from MWO Online, in my opinion. And there's also normal autocannons, ultra and ultra autocannons, and rotary autocannons. And I forgot to get ammo. And not to mention there's the artillery unit. I'm probably forgetting a few weapons, just a few though. Just like there are machine guns and flamers in MWO Online, but they're not particularly useful. Oh hey, there's also the LBX autocannons in both games. And they function the same way, except I would argue the ones in this game are far more useful.
Weapons offline. Reactor offline.
And this game has the same locational damage system that MWO Online has, with the added caveat, like, you know, on the Mad Cat, where its side torsos are counted as the ears, which means two things. It means if you hit the ears of the Mad Cat, which might not be considered a part of the side torso to some people, you damage what is, you know, the right or left torso. In this game, the ears of a Mad Cat are an external part and have a separate armor model. This means that you can kill a Mad Cat quicker if you hit the right location. You can also take the ears off of a Mad Cat and disarm it quicker. That type of fine-tuning makes the game easier to balance, because I think it's indisputable that the Mad Cat is overpowered in MWO Online. In this game, it's still very powerful, but it's also really, really expensive. That was an Arrow 4 missile, by the way. It's flying over there. Ow. Ow. Maybe I should be making those funny comments in voice. Maybe. I don't think I'm gonna survive. Yep. The combat gets longer ranged as the match progresses. I think I can figure out a way to get close to them. Give them hell. I'm distracted by commentary, so I'm not playing at my peak. I'm also particularly rusty with this game.
Assembly in progress.
I'm going to buy an APC and go in his infantry as far as I can.
Assembly ready.
Of course, the match is about to end. Hey, since there's infantry in this game, mounted machine guns are useful as anti-infantry weapons. Who would have thought? Now, it would be funny if I found out that I'm actually not recording. That would be really funny. This thing isn't going to last very long. Oh, I think we're changing the map, which will be the end of the video. My objective remarks about this game. Oh, damn it. I think this video is already going to be nearly an hour long. Or is it 45 minutes? I don't know. I think for the YouTube quota, that is just 15 minutes over what most people are going to tolerate watching. That guy had some funky camo. I always forget. And you can't change camo once you bought the vehicle. Sad tale, but now I'm going to be firing weapons whenever I hit the push the talk key. Yes, yes, yes. Just have to use the middle mouse for that. Oh, and let's talk about performance. Micro Online runs at a smooth frame rate. So does this game. That does matter. Just thought I'd mention. Just listen to those cannons, man. How is that not fun? How is that not better than Micro Online? That's my opinion. I admit, that's not objective, that's just opinion. But I'll stick to it, man.
Left torso damaged.
And a lot of people might complain about the long-range missiles in Micro Online. This game still has the long-range missiles, but in order to lock on with the missiles, you have to actually see the target that you're locking onto and put your mouse directly over their chassis for so many seconds until it locks on. And you can dodge them like that. Can't do that in Micro Online. It's a shame I never bought a mech with jump jets. The jump jets in this game work a lot differently than those in Micro Online. But again, that's specifics. That is subjective gameplay material. The objective nature of these games, they have an almost equivalent amount of content, but I would say this game has more content. It has more maps, more game modes, more weapons, more mechs, more vehicles, More variety. And the quality of the content, the quality of the stuff in the game, the content, is well done. I dodged like half of those missiles. Good job, me. Just listen to those cannons. Wouldn't you be scared if it was coming at you? And look, compared to those cannon sounds in Micro Online, it's just so disappointing. That's why I was so disappointed with Micro Online. The sounds. That's why I was disappointed with it. Now I'm disappointed with it because I have to pay for everything. And a lot of the stuff that they said that they would have for Micro Online, they didn't end up having. Like, early on in the game's development, they hinted that they would want to have more involvement with the in-game cockpit that is extensively modeled for each mech. As it would turn out, they could remove the cockpit from the game and no one would notice. Except they would suddenly have more view space. This game has no illusions about using cockpit space. It was never promised. And I do have a problem with developers going back on things that they said they would do, but turned out they didn't do. But, past that fact, objectively we can look at the game and say, Micro Online does have a nicely detailed cockpit, but it makes no difference to the gameplay. Oh, shit. About to get wrecked. It missed. Crap. There goes my rear armor. Yeah, I'm gonna die. I know that. I know that very well. Also know I'm a team 1. Because we're winners. There I go. Dead. Oh, look, it's gonna nuke. Let's see if we can see the nuke. Or did it nuke? No, it's not gonna nuke. Aw. Look at that sweet paint job. See, if you want this from the MechWarrior game, this game still has it. And that's the end of the match. I will be signing off now.